we would be banging these together if we were in the same room, but
that is true.
Yes.
That is true. Hello and welcome to Up at Noon, your weekly comedy variety show right here on IGN. I'm Brian Altano, that's Max Scoville, and we are live on YouTube, Twitch, and I'm very excited for the show today because we have a lot of really awesome stuff up ahead. We're talking about Thundercats toys, we're talking about Mandalorian, and we're playing with a $250 lightsaber, which we were both graciously sent by Hasbro. And so, Max, how you feeling today?
I'm hot. I don't know. It's 2020. Yeah, I'm like hot and sad, and I'm excited to talk about toys for an hour. First things first, before we get any further, I just want to say right out the bat that KOTOR 3 is not confirmed. It seems sort of unlikely it'll ever happen because that's one of those corners of Star Wars that exists in the sort of technically not canon, but it's so far away from everything else in the main canon timeline that nobody really knows. However, they have been sort of making new KOTOR-related collectibles, including the Hasbro Black Series Force Effects Elite Darth Revan lightsaber, which we both got sent. This is an awesome toy. This is one of those ones where, like, I'm not really, and this is blasphemy, I know, I'm not really a KOTOR guy, but you know, I like a good lightsaber now and then. And this showed up, and I've seen these before, but I feel like they have definitely stepped this up quite a bit. This one changes colors, and it does a bunch of like weird. You were texting me while you were figuring it out. Which, and it has here, let's start messing with it. It does this thing where it's supposed to be like a door cutting effect.
Yeah.
Or I guess you could be just stabbing somebody in the heart. And it looks a little bit weird on my camera here because the lights are all blowing it out, but it's got a bunch of, it's got the usual effects and stuff, but
yeah. So what's really cool about this is, like, canonically in the game, Darth Revan has like two lightsabers, and one turns purple and one turns red. And so this actually has a color switching feature on it where you can hold down the buttons together and they sort of magically morph and change colors, as you can just see. I'll do it again because it's super cool. And we played it with a few of these Force Effects lightsabers before, but this is, like, by far, I think, probably one of the, like, most well-built, sturdiest, most sort of unique in the number of kind of action features it has.
It's got some straight up, like, just action feature gimmickry going on here, and I'm pretty into it. I'm gonna turn this off because it's being loud, but yeah. So the whole thing is just, the hilt is all just there's a little bit of plastic on there, but it's mostly just aluminum, I believe. And it's really just a very pretty design. I love these movable sort of prongs. I don't know what you do with that exactly, but I guess if the energized magic laser sword part isn't cutting it, then you get to stab somebody with three short metal things just to really seal the deal.
Yeah, I'm kind of like an old school purist when it comes to lightsaber aesthetics and designs. They've gotten sort of like increasingly strange and obtuse over the years. But this is one of the ones that's sort of a little off the beaten path that I totally dig. And it took me a minute to kind of warm up to it because holding it feels slightly difficult because it's got these sort of protruded edges here, these like little skateboard ramps. But imagine like you're, a badass warrior, and you deal with that. You deal with pain. That's part of conflict and combat. So yeah, I'm really into this. It also comes with a cool little stand that sort of has the Imperial Wall background on it, and so you can pop that in right here, and it'll hold on right there. And then you can do what I do, which is walk by it every time you see it and just power it on. I do want to point out that my 2-year-old is obsessed with this thing and has frequently walked in the back of meetings throughout my week and grabbed it and just started swinging it around in the background.
That's a problem.
Yeah, super, super fun. So here's the packaging. I shot some footage of this earlier. Packaging is really cool too because it's a little sort of diagonal on the edges. It shows you sort of all the action features that come with it, all those sort of various things you can do with it. Here you can see it being light up in purple and then holding down the buttons and moving it around and stuff like that. It's basically got like some motion effects to it. And there it is switching to red and powering on and off. And that's the stand it comes with. This thing is just gorgeous. So that's it without the actual lightsaber, blade inside of it.
So this is $250, give or take. I think it's like $225 on one website and $250 on another, but it's you can get it on Hasbro Pulse or on the official Hasbro store. I think those are somehow different entities, but there's one gimmick that we didn't get B-roll of, which I want to try to show off here, but it's tricky because we've got like all sorts of different cartoonish colored lights going on. It also comes with this little kyber crystal here, which you can stop showing me. Don't show me. Show the thing. Show it. There it is. Okay. So as you can see, it's just a nice little clear plastic kyber crystal. Not a big deal. Nothing really special going on there. However, if you pop it in here into the hilt, once again, I must move my face to block this. There we go.
There you go.
It lights up. Yeah.
Dude, that's so awesome.
No, wait. It does something else though. This is what my favorite part though. This made me. I was just like, this is magic. It has I think a little battery in there, so it actually saves the.
Yeah, it'll save the color of the crystal charge on there, which is just super cool. And yeah, so as you can see, when you take the actual light out, you can pop a little top on like this right here, and then take this little kind of screw right here and pop it on, and this looks awesome in storage. This is the kind of thing I've never really understood those people who kind of look at that, man, that's so cool, who take lightsabers and mount them above their televisions or to the sides. And then this showed up and I was like, I get it. I totally get it. This is a beautiful piece of kit here. Obviously $250 is a lot of money. And as some people have pointed out, you almost buy an Xbox Series S for that. Obviously value is relative to the beauty in the eye of the beholder and such, but your Xbox can't charge a kyber crystal. And
here's the thing. If you take your Xbox and you hit your little brother with it, it's going to break the Xbox and probably make your little brother cry. But if you hit your little brother with this, it's going to light up and make cool Star Wars sound effects. And it's canonical to hit family members.
Probably still make him cry, though.
Yeah, if he's a coward,
No, I mean, if he's a, don't. I will put this out right there, right now. Do not hit your siblings or any friends or family with this lightsaber. You need to be a trained Jedi, and luckily you can actually take classes for that. So, and there are people everywhere, fighting with actual lightsabers. You can learn.
You also use this thing. Eat spaghetti. You just get it in there and just do the twirl, and then it's got a good grip on there. So you really pull a big fistful of nice wet pasta noodles out of there.
I actually like that a lot. Or if you point this in somebody's face, they can forget a bunch of stuff, which is great. Yeah, dude, look at that. So yeah, the road to KOTOR 3, if that's even a road that's being paved, has been long and arduous. But I do really hope that at some point, we get to see more and more sort of iconic props and toys from those films become tangible goods that you can purchase at home. So yeah, that is the Black Series Force Effects Elite Lightsaber, based on Darth Revan's lightsaber from KOTOR. And thank you to Hasbro for sending those over. Thank you for making my video meetings more interesting. And may the Force
Thanks for scaring my dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, while we're in the subject of Star Wars, one thing that is rapidly sort of throwing in bits and pieces of things that were previously not canon and now are becoming canon again is, of course, The Mandalorian. We are both extremely excited for The Mandalorian Season 2, and we have not had a chance to properly unpack that trailer, which has been floating around for a little while now. But I figured, us being gigantic Star Wars dorks, it's a good chance to really just extrapolate on some extremely specific details and just share our feelings about maybe some deep-rooted conspiracy theories that are hidden in there. If you will allow me to elaborate, I have, in fact, some theories presented with information to back them up. And again, it's a trailer. They're going to hide their secrets real good, but I've got this nice infographic here. First things first, let's talk about this shot right here. People have pointed this out. I think it is quite clear what's going to happen in Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 2 based on this image. As you can clearly see, there is the jetpack of Boba Fett on the back of the swoop right there. That is the Z6 jetpack worn by Boba Fett when he went hurtling into the depths of the pit of Carkoon, that wonderful Sarlacc that we thought was the end of him. We have not heard the end of him. However, if you go to Tamura Morrison's IMDb page, you see that it says that in Season 2, Episode 1, he's going to be playing Boba Fett on The Mandalorian.
They just snitched that out like that?
Yeah, it's not great. I like that they keep it all under wraps, and they're like, maybe the nerds will notice this blurry photo of this iconic jet vehicle pack. But
I'm a little mad at you, although you're my best friend and I love you. But I specifically watched this trailer once on my phone, kind of half looking, being like, "Don't spoil the surprise." And now my friend is here telling me that that's Boba Fett's jetpack right on the back. I'm very excited.
Don't blame me. Blame Tamura Morrison's agent, who just really wants to get that out there. So
fair enough.
You know, there was that episode, that sort of stinger at the end of one of the episodes last season where somebody with jingly boots walked up to the scene of something. I forget what happened, but it was like everyone's like, who was wearing the jingly boots? And it's like, if you're familiar with Star Wars, obviously Boba Fett wears jingly boots, as inspired by Clint Eastwood, who wore ponchos and had little spurs.
Yeah, it's got the little shingle going.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, moving on. Here's an interesting one. We get this shot here of Din Djarin, and he's hanging out. He's watching the WWE of Star Wars, where the Gamorreans take their shirts off and hit each other or whatever. And we have this little showdown. It's so good. We have this little showdown though. There's this brief exchange where this one-eyed sort of tough guy fellow with the weird comb over has his goons point the blasters at Din, and we're like, oh, what could possibly happen? And the trailer goes, well, he's going to whip out those little screaming weasels, or the whistling birdies, or whatever they're called, those things from the first season, and he's going to shoot them every which way, and he's going to kill everybody in the room, and he's going to be just the ultimate conquered badass, whatever, because that's how it works. He goes in and cleans everybody out. It's no big deal. However, if you do a little bit of deep digging, you can clearly see that this character here on the right is an Abyssian, who's the same species as Mayo, one of the Cantina aliens, and according to Star Wars lore, they have regenerative abilities. So I believe that he's going to shoot off those whistling birds, and it's going to wreck everybody in the room. But then this one dude is going to pull a Wolverine, and he's going to be like, "Ah, nice try, Din, but I can regenerate things." And then maybe he's going to, I don't know, maybe he's the guy who's hanging up from that lamppost in that earlier scene in the trailer.
Do you think the limbs grow back that quickly though? I mean, a lot of people, like a lot of species have those that just take a long time, take their sweet time.
I mean, they're just infinite. I based on this one character who, like, I know some Cantina lore, and I don't even know what Mayo's deal is, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe they'll explore it. Maybe they won't. Now, here's a big one. We see some shots of some planets. We see some flying around. We see some, just some iconic sort of snowy imagery. And of course, everybody who is not a good Star Wars fan goes, it must be Hoth. Because of course it's good. They're going to go back to Hoth, everyone's favorite planet, Hoth. What an interesting planet. There's nothing interesting about Hoth. The only interesting thing about Hoth is the Battle of Hoth takes place there. And the only reason the Battle of Hoth took place there was the rebels were hiding there because there's nothing going on Hoth. There's no galactic significance of Hoth. You could argue that Tatooine is specifically kind of a bum F-word nowhere planet. Luke Skywalker even says if there's a bright center of the universe, this is the planet it's furthest from, whatever. Arguably, geographically speaking, in a galactic sense, that is true. However, there's all sorts of, because it is so far off the beaten path, that's where lots of smuggling happens, and all sorts of, like, that's where Jabba the Hutt has his
there's bars and restaurants. Yeah,
there's
a lot of good stuff. Hoth was designed to be boring and innocuous so the rebels could hide without being found. Exactly. There's really no reason to go back there. I know we're obsessed with finding the remnants of the original trilogy strewn about everywhere. I feel like The Force Awakens kind of just like planted, the flag on that one with seeing fallen ships and stuff like that. There's no discernible reason to go back to Hoth.
Now, however, there is another ice planet that does in faut tie in with The Force Awakens, which has all sorts of galactic significance, which is in fact Ilum, which has been around for quite some time. It is a snow planet, which is where Kyber crystals are frequently mined on, that's where you go to get some crystals and you do Jedi stuff. We all went there and did some Jedi stuff in Jedi Fallen Order.
That's right.
They do some little Jedi stuff there. So I think that it's probably Ilum, or maybe by some stretch of the imagination in an entire galaxy, the people behind this interesting creative show were like, let's make a new snow planet. Just a thought.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be a reference. And we love reference.
Now, anyway, while we're talking about interesting references, this shot specifically, I think, is the hands down most interesting shot in the entire trailer. And I will tell you why. Before you go forward,
you and I were texting about this. I love all of this that's happening here because we don't see boats in Star Wars ever. Or
we never
rarely.
see boats. Yeah, well, that's a dead giveaway, is the fact that he's going to crash the Razor Crest real hard. It's going to wreck it up entirely. It's probably going to be sort of a redo of the first season where he had to have Nick Nolte fix it with his little Ugnaught hands. But in this time, it's going to be on a water planet, so he's going to have to hang out with a bunch of Quarren squid heads.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tessa, who was Jabba the Hutt's accountant. Anyway, in this shot, we see this sort of fishing port where there's a Quarrens every which way, people walking around. And then there's these two interesting sort of characters right here, which I think they are new parents. And I think this because if you look carefully, you can see that they look like a frog, and the pink one, which maybe is the girl, maybe they're doing with the sort of the old obvious old timey, baby colors. But there's this fish tank on the lady's back. They're holding hands. They're clearly a couple.
Lovers.
And you look at the frog. They do tadpoles, and I think what's going to happen in the show is that we're going to see Din Djarin, and he's going to go to this fish port, and he's going to be hanging out with these squid guys, and he's going to be like, "Can I come on your boat?" And they're going to say, "This isn't how we do things here. No one can just come on the boat." And he's going to befriend these new frog parents who have an entire fish tank full of tadpoles on their back, and he's going to say, "Hey, listen, I also have a child. This is child." And he's going to hold up little baby Yoda, Yablo, as I like to call it, and they're going to bond over the challenges of parenting. And he's going to say, "You know what, frog parents, I too understand the strife and trials and tribulations of traveling a dangerous galaxy far, far away with an annoying newborn." So there you have it. I think they're going to become friends with the frog parents, and then they're going to go on the boat.
At some point, there was created a fruit by the foot length disconnection between you and reality, and then it was never really tethered back together. And I don't know when that was. If you were a kid, if you were an adult, but it happened, and it hasn't stopped happening. So
why we do an important show? We got to give people the hard hitting details and the news and the information. Everyone knows that Boba Fett's going to be in this season. Everyone knows that they're going to go to Ilum. Everyone knows.
It's obvious.
The frogs, they love each other. They have tadpoles, and they're going to talk. It's going to happen. Watch and wait and see.
Fair.
See, sure. I'm just saying. Okay, fine.
Stop. You got to stop showing that picture. But sure, yes, I'm sure it will, Max. I'm sure it will. There.
And this concludes my theories for Mandalorian Season 2. Thankfully, we don't have to wait that long because it is coming to Disney Plus. What is it? On the 30th? October 30th?
Yeah. Devil's Night, All Hallows Eve, or whatever.
Well, what are we going to do? Go trick-or-treating?
Yeah. Sure. Great.
Anyway,
other news that we texted each other about that could be a thing is that apparently they are making a Yakuza movie, a live action film based on Yakuza. They're still looking for writers, but I think that's okay. You can finish that last when it comes to video game movies.
So this news dropped this morning. I'm a huge fan of the Yakuza series. I say that a lot. I also still haven't played all of the games because there are like 7 or 8 of them, and they keep putting out more of them before I can finish the last one. So I'm chipping away at them. However, I've played a bunch of them, and they're great. I implore everyone to go out and check them out. Start with Zero or Kiwami, whichever. I think they're both on Game Pass. They're available for all sorts of different platforms. But the news of a Yakuza movie is exciting, I guess, kind of. The studio's sort of behind it. This is sort of hot on the trails of Sega making tons of money off of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Yakuza, after Sonic, is apparently their best-selling series. So they're like, yeah, why not? This is story-based. Let's make a movie out of it. And I believe they enlisted the help of 2 production companies. There's 1212 or 1212 or 1212. I'm not really sure how you pronounce these numbers. And then another one called Wild Sheep, the latter of which worked on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the Alvin Schwartz horror adaptation for kids that came out last year, which was okay. But other than that, we have nothing to go on about what the Yakuza movie is going to be. Aside from it will focus on Kazuma Kiryu, who is the hero of most of the games, except for the new one that's coming out.
Right.
But I want to point out, this is actually not the first Yakuza movie. I feel like a lot of people, even diehard Yakuza fans, forget about this. There was a 2007 live-action Yakuza movie released in Japan, directed by Takashi Miike, who did, I believe, Ichi the Killer. He's done a bunch of like incredibly weird Japanese movies with tidbits of martial arts in there. This movie, I've watched a good chunk of it. It's not great, but it's interesting, and it's kind of like a weird. I mean, in the same way that any other video game adaptation is never quite the experience you have with the video game because it's a passive experience, and they want to do something new and different. But it's got Haruka, it's got Majima, it's got Kiryu running around. It's interesting because it is shot on location, presumably, but the Yakuza games are like wonderfully accurate when it comes to how they depict Kamurocho, and it looks like they just filmed in Kabukicho, which is like the neighborhood that inspired it. So
it feels like the lighting and the costumes and the camera angles are like pretty damn spot on, which is
they screwed up like a bunch of little dumb things, like like Kiryu wears like brown lace-ups or like black lace-ups instead of white loafers, and Majima's wearing a shirt and his eye patch is on the wrong side. But like that said, if you can overlook that stuff, it's not that bad. It's kind of fun to watch. This bit of Majima coming in is like it feels like what they would do in a live action commercial for the game. Like it's pretty dead on. And it's also weird to not have such dynamic camera angles like we get in the games. But
Right.
yeah, the cool thing is like oftentimes games like or movies like this come out or they sort of get swept under the rug and they're incredibly hard to track down. This one is on DVD legally for $25. It's on Amazon, shipped. You can also get it on Blu-ray. I think it's a French release that's multi-region. For a cool minute, the only way you could get a hold of this, and this is super strange, is by buying it digitally on PSN in the movies section.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. A friend of mine showed me this and was like, "This is odd." And it was a really bad transfer. Like it had like scan lines. Like it wasn't interlaced properly, so it had like weird.
Sucks.
It was super jaggy. It was like watching an old like QuickTime video or something. But yeah, I kind of love that this is. First of all, I'm super happy there's more Yakuza stuff. But second, I'm like, oh, you can get a hold of this movie a lot more easily now.
That's really awesome.
If you want a Yakuza movie before the producers, I don't know how you shoot a live action movie in a time. Look at this baseball stuff. Look at this nonsense. Look at that.
Darth Lannister on the YouTube chat just said, throwing a wrench in this, I believe there are laws in Japan that regulate the portrayal of Yakuza in the media. Interesting. Yeah.
So they have to wear shirts and they cannot have an eye patch on a certain side.
Potentially, yeah.
Interesting. Very odd. Yeah.
While we have everyone's attention, I was texting you about this, Max. I don't know why I keep prefacing with that, but I used to just say Max and I were having a conversation about this, but we're not allowed to really see each other in face to face anymore. But Takashi Miike also made this movie, or 1/3 of a movie called 3 Extremes, which is streaming on Prime right now. And I was texting you about it because it's super cool. It is 3 different sort of like Asian filmmakers took a stab at making a short horror film, and they're all jammed together. And there's, I believe there's one from Korea, one from Japan, and one from China. And it's super interesting. They're all sort of horrifying. I've been on a major horror movie kick this year. And so go check that out if you haven't. Yeah, we should like at some point just do a full on like movie recommendation show. Cause
I would love that.
I feel like you and I have both watched a lot of weird nonsense. Like you put me onto the Greasy Strangler, which was a blast.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Another Takashi Miike movie that I feel like has very Yakuza energy is Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
Which, and it's like one of those like Japanese movies have like an odd pacing to them sometimes, where the opening 15 minutes of that movie is like flat out just flabbergastingly awesome and fun and really exciting, and then it just like slows down to sort of like it just kind of chills out for a while and becomes very like character driven, and then the last 15 minutes go completely over the top again. But it's like it's kind of a weird movie to sort of try to regulate your energy level to, but definitely go check that out. That's a super fun one. But yeah, Yakuza movie, it's happening.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully. I did want to point out a comment from earlier when we were talking about Star Wars from Trevor Stanner. He says, no clue if you guys will see this. We saw it, but I ended up getting the Mos Eisley Cantina Lego set that just launched, and wow, it's incredible. I couldn't resist. Dude, that's the kind of thing that's like, I'm so happy to hear that, but also I didn't need to hear that, because like seeing pictures of it and all that, but it is one thing. Hearing like testimonials from people like actually having it in the wild, in the bricks, in the flesh or whatever, totally makes me go, oh man, I really need that. Like
that. Not buying that set was like, that felt like trying to quit smoking. Like it was one of those things where I'd get this craving that I'm like, I want to buy the Mos Eisley Cantina, and I'd be like, just do something else, let it pass, like go distract yourself, don't think about it. Now it's like, I'm cool. Well, other people can have it. I'm fine. I don't need that. It's fine.
Max, on the flip side, we're both big action figure guys, and we're both big comic book guys and Marvel guys in general. And if you do want to buy some collectibles that are infinitely cheaper than, funding a movie or subscribing to 2 years of Disney Plus or buying a lightsaber or getting a Mos Eisley Cantina set, Marvel and Kenner and Hasbro has your back with the brand new set of the Hasbro Marvel Legends retro 4-inch scale figures.
Look at these guys; they're friends. Let's look at this picture.
They're
holding hands.
They're so cool.
I tried to fit them all into one picture, but I made them look like they're holding hands, which I feel like is just sort of really adds to the retro energy there.
I feel like we've talked about this before, Max, but like one of my first comic book figures ever was like one of the first 4-inch scale or 3.75-inch scale Spider-Mans, who I believe the second you took him out of the package was just the loosest dude. He was just
I had one of those guys too. So that was the original Kenner Kenner, I think superpowers line.
Yeah.
And what's weird about this is we're at this point where we're having this, like, there's that whole thing about the Mandela effect or the Mandela effect, where people are like, yeah, Sinbad was totally in a movie called, Shazam. And it's like, that didn't exist. That never happened. There were never 4-inch Marvel figures.
No,
like there were briefly, like they made like 4-inch super articulated ones for collectors, like maybe 10 years ago. But like back in the 80s, like they were doing, they were doing GI Joes in this scale. They were doing Star Wars in this scale. But there was Marvel stuff was 5-inch. Like they were much bigger. They were like more in line with the stuff that Kenner would do later on for Batman and eventually the other X-Men figures. So it's weird to have these. This is kind of like fitting in that line of like Super 7 does the reaction line. Mezco has the 5 points line, but this whole thing of like doing like, I guess, less articulated, very simple figures for collecting, which they're fun to collect because they're small. Like they don't take up a ton of space. They're not super fragile. They don't have a lot of pointy stuff on them. Like if you want to throw them in a Ziploc bag and put them in a drawer, like you're okay. That's how we used to do it back in the day. These ones are actually going up for pre-order tomorrow. These are in a series of 2-packs.
Dude, that packaging is so good.
Yeah, these are gorgeous. So yeah, Cap and Black Panther are packaged together. Iron Man.
I love how the packaging looks like a comic book, and also a box set. So I imagine they're like sitting flat against each other. Dude, that X-Men packaging is awesome.
It's so good. Yeah, I'm like a little bit torn on these. I'm curious to see what the final packaging looks like. Like Hasbro's been doing such a good job of doing retro inspired action figures. Like they've been doing the sort of vintage, not the vintage collection, but the retro, like the Black Series with the sort of retro card backs, or doing Marvel Legends that look like they're on the original Toy Biz Kenner, or not Toy Biz X-Men action figures, or like the Spider-Man animated series stuff. So these are like, they make me immediately nostalgic for like that style, but at the same time I'm like, there's a lot here that isn't, this was never a thing. Like this never, it was never like this, which is nitpicky, but I think they're cool toys still, but they're definitely in that weird, it's an odd choice,
It's like a retro throwback to an alternate dimension timeline that never truly existed.
Right.
And I think it's like, from a toy perspective, they're not the most interesting toys. They're very simple in paint and articulation and stuff like that. But I think it's like a cohesive picture here. Like I'm very much an open up your toys kind of guy, but these are the kind of things that like are totally displayable. Like that Spider-Man is just like, it is impossible to not look at this like 2-pack of Spider-Man and Electro and not feel a little, spider sense tingling.
Yeah. So the good news is that if you want to get a hold of these, there's going to be a whole bunch more of them coming out over the course of next year. Apparently they've planned like a big whole line of these, and I can't imagine that they're super difficult to produce because they're, pretty simple. But I think they're going to be sold as like single figures as opposed to doing 2-packs all the time. But I do like that. I think the Spider-Man Electro one is like the most sensible 2-pack because like they're fighting on the cover there, whereas it's like, Iron Man and like Cyclops, like they definitely hung out once in a while, but like it would make more sense to have like Cap and Iron Man together, but whatever. So, they'll figure it out.
One of the things I'm wondering is like, I wonder how they're going to play with scale once they start getting into some more strange characters and larger characters. And also like if you look at something like how do you do Professor X? How do you do like if you do a 2-pack of Wolverine and Sabretooth, that makes sense. But like, are you going to make Thanos the same size?
Well, that's the beauty of doing 4-inch figures, and that's why like Star Wars works so well. Is like you can have all the characters, and you can have vehicles, and you can have little things, and you can have giant things, and you can have play sets. And then the second you move to 6-inch, you're like, oh, like a 6-inch scale AT-AT is going to be $1,000. Like that's going to be like 5 feet long.
You get into crowdfunding territory.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. Like it's weird. They tried doing Marvel figures again in this scale a while ago, and they were all right. I think I have like a Deadpool kicking around somewhere. They did a good job with them, but I think like at that point, Marvel Legends was so established as like a 6-inch series, and they were like kind of going into GI Joe Star Wars turf. It's just weird how like different properties sort of align more with different toy lines. But I guess we're getting X-Men in 4-inch scale. We're getting GI Joes and Star Wars in 6-inch scale. So why not more toys?
Everything's everywhere. And so to reiterate, these are limited edition 2-packs. They are going on sale tomorrow on Hasbro Pulse at 5 p.m. Eastern time. That's 2 p.m. Pacific, or whatever time it is when you live or where you live, if you use the Google for it. And they're $20. each, and I'm into that. And we're getting more next year, which is super cool. So I guess if you want to start buying into these and start collecting them, jump on it tomorrow, because I think by next year you're going to see more. It is a little weird that we're not getting Wolverine at launch, but they have such a deep chest of characters here.
Look, there's like a bunch of weird angry dudes out there who are just like pissed off that Cyclops and Electro never get their due attention. So they're like, yeah, Electro, Cyclops, and three guys are like, finally our time has come.
So I actually like kind of dig that, to go on a tangent from like a collecting perspective. If you are trying to catch them all, to start with sort of like atypical characters in a roster, because I think it gets people sort of enthused about stuff that like is outside of the sort of traditional line. Super 7's been really good with that, with the turtle stuff. They didn't just launch all four at once with some of their Ultimates and stuff.
There's an interesting thing that happens with like collectible companies where if there'd been an existing toy line, I remember this happened with Dragon Ball Z when they came stateside. Their mentality was like, let's make figures that have never been made before, because we can always just repackage or re-release like toys that are out there. You see this occasionally with Marvel Legends, where they're like, great news, everybody, it's Magneto in his like 2017 like alternate universe outfit, and it's like, well, give me the classic Magneto, and it's like, well, the hardcore collectors already have 5 of him, so they want something interesting and new. So it's it's a weird balance to find, like, how do you service like that incredibly diehard weird hardcore fan base who has everything, and also like people who maybe casually want to just pick up a new toy. You mentioned Super 7, our pals at Super 7, a San Francisco-based toy company that's been doing some very cool stuff, both in little tiny retro-styled scale, but also doing some wonderful collector grade, super articulated ultimate figures, such as it's Lion-O from the Thundercats. There he is.
The best. That is, dude. Actually, that is like, I had no idea how good that toy was. I had a hunch, but man, that is gorgeous.
This is so I've been, like most people, unhappy this year. And initially these toys got announced. Like, I'm a big sort of reformed Thundercats fan. I loved Thundercats as a kid. I kind of like had like a weird, I have like a weird quasi Thundercats tattoo. I've got like Mumra's intertwining snakes on my arm here, because I have brain problems. But I saw these figures get announced, and I was like, these are all right. I could take them or leave them. Like, do I need to have every figure? And they posted something on Instagram, and I was like, you know what, screw it. And I have a buddy who lives like down the street from their San Francisco store, and I was like, hey man, can you go like grab me a Mumra? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he like went there, and he's like, sent me a photo of like Jackalman and like Panthro and Lion-O too. And I was like, oh, that's tempting. And he's like, hey, I bought you a Lion-O too. And I was like, okay, fine, that's okay, cool, whatever. So I have to Venmo him. But they've been doing these figures, and like, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, fine, I'll check them out. And then I opened them up, and they're just like, they're so good. They're such good figures. And the thing is, like, there have never been good Thundercats action figures. Like, back in the 80s, they sucked. The LJN had the license. They made these big, weird, rubbery, just like they were. It's like they were trying to make what He-Man was doing, but they completely missed the point.
They were some of the first toys I ever owned, and Thundercats was one of the first cartoons I ever watched. And I got Lion-O for Christmas one year, and I have 2 brothers, and one of them is 3 years younger than me. It started this huge fight in between my brothers, where my younger brother wanted one as well. And so my dad had to buy 2. It was the first time we ever had 2 of the same action figure in our home. But the original Lion-O toy, not a great toy, big chunky guy, not a ton of articulation, but the sort of clip-on lion's claw and the sword and everything like that, like all of that made it the coolest thing ever. And so this looks like just a gorgeous glow up of one of my earliest toy memories. So I'm totally buying this.
These are the toys of like the things you remember as a kid. Like, this is what they actually should be like. He comes with, so Lion-O has his Sword of Omens in the little shield claw hilt thing. And there's 2 other versions. There's one that's like super fuzzy and like kind of overly detailed. Just show the thing. There, show it. There it is. So that one's all fuzzy, and then there's a different one which is like looks more cartoony and smooth, like it's made of metal. But you can clip it, like the hands are removable, tons of extra hands. The Lion-O is very good. I wasn't initially like, I need a Lion-O. I'm a big Mumra guy. I love mummies. I think they're cool. Mumra is like my favorite. Person. So this is Mumra in his like, decayed bones form. And this figure is so I think it's like one of my favorite toys I bought in years. Like I love this figure. It's got a soft goods cape, which has wire in the edge of it, so you can pose it and make him like just look. There it is, yeah. And he's got interchangeable hands. He's got an amulet I'll never find again. He's got his he's got like the Book of Omens or the Book of Thundera, and he's got an urn. Like he's just got like a bunch of like really specific accessories from old episodes I haven't even rewatched in a while. This makes me so happy. And like literally I posted this on Instagram. I was like, this is so cool. I can't wait till they start doing more like weird deep cut characters. These are obviously two of the sort of the bigger ones, but I think literally a day or two later, they were like, great news, everybody. We're doing Snowman of Hook Mountain. We're doing Pumra. We're doing, Monkey Inn, like a bunch of like weird, like, and I'm just so happy that there are people out there who are doing this, because Super 7 has been doing this with Masters of the Universe for ages. They've been like really, really good about sort of finding that weird balance of like, this is a toy that a casual collector might want, but also here's servicing like hardcore nerds from like back in the day who have everything, and there's always, they want an updated version of something they had as a kid. Yeah, their Ultimates line for Turtles has been incredible too, and sold out incredibly quickly. So I think I might have to jump on that Mutagen Man. Yeah, that's super cool. I'm really into what they're making right now, because I think that they're servicing a lot of different audiences in the sort of the smaller scale stuff and then the more high end stuff. But the level of detail on these is absolutely coming from like people that legitimately care. I think that's that means a lot, and I think like real recognize real when it comes to that. Like we look into this and we go, yes, like you nailed it, you got it, and that's the best feeling. And I think it's one thing to make like retro styled figures, which are like fairly straightforward, but to make like modern articulated collector grade figures with clean paint ops and a bunch of like posability is a different story, and they're doing both, and it rules. So really happy about that. I hope they do a Robert Bill, and I hope they. That was a Snarf. That was another one of the toys I had, which was, I think, one of my first exposures to having like a deep cut action figure that wasn't really seen a lot, because those guys weren't really in a ton of the show episodes. But I had a toy of them. So, like, if you guys haven't seen Thundercats, it's so weird. It's such a wonderfully strange show. I had this whole thing where like. My wife, like we like a lot of the same stuff, but we have like different tastes. And I think I tried to get her. I was like, we should check out Thundercats. She's like, I always thought that was weird. I hated it. I don't want to see that. And I was like, you don't like Thundercats? And the other day, I think she saw me playing with these toys, and she's like, hey, you know what? I think I should give Thundercats a chance. And I was like, you don't need to give Thundercats a chance. It's stupid as hell. Like, you don't need to watch Thundercats. Like, they got like talking robot bears, mummies. Yeah, just it's such wonderful nonsense. So I'm very happy about that. Real quick, we been talking about toys for a while, so we're going to continue doing that. There are some new Transformers that are going up for pre-order on September 26th. They are based on the War for Cybertron Kingdom figures, which is essentially the closure of a trilogy of a series of Netflix shows and such. I don't know what the hell. Like, so like TLDR, they're Beast Wars figures. Like which is what everyone's excited about, because. Like, here's the thing. I never got into Beast Wars. I thought it was weird that they had animals turning into like robots, but a whole lot of people really love it, and I want them to be happy. Like, I think that there's like, that's I feel like anytime anything Beast Wars comes up, like everybody comes out of the woodwork to be like, that show was underrated, to the point where you're like, who didn't like it? Like, who? I mean, me apparently, but like now I will never get incredulous about a robot not turning into a vehicle. That's a stupid thing to be upset about, right? But for me, Beast Wars sort of aesthetically never really connected with me, because I was always like an old school animated guy. That said, the concept of robots, like in our malformed brains, we were like, a robot turning into a cheetah? That's nonsense. That's incredulous. Anyway, let me watch this 11-foot tall robot turn into a handgun. Perfect. Perfect. No, but I do want to say, like, when a robot does turn into an animal, it rules. That's great. I think we've reached this point where we're just at peace with things, and we're like, it doesn't have to make sense. But when you're like 11 and the world really doesn't make sense, but you're smart enough to try to piece it, you're like, why is Optimus Prime a monkey? Optimus Prime should be a truck. And you're like, just don't even, who cares? It's fake. There's space robots.
One of them turned into an Xbox. One of them, I think, had an erection or something. And one of them, it doesn't matter.
Like the Dinobots were like, no, that's obvious. They were Stone Age dinosaur robots.
We gave that a pass.
They came out of their hibernation. They looked around and they were like, what machines are here? It's like, oh, they've got dinosaurs, and it's like a bunch of the dinosaurs from different eras, like Cretaceous with the other ones. Jurassic? Like they probably like, we'll take those shapes, and then they just were like, they went into hibernation for a while, and so they got to hang out with like a Mack truck and a Volkswagen Bug, and like they're illiterate. Like what?
And we were kids, and we were like, a cheetah? That's not a dinosaur. He's too young.
So I'm sorry, Beast Wars fans, for not taking you seriously. We worked through our own issues. Anyway, let's look at these toys.
I feel like Darth Vader. I'm like, you were right. Tell your sister you were right. Anyway, let's start with Cheetor.
Here's Cheetor.
Here's Cheetor.
Where's it? Oh, is it not working?
Is it working?
Is it doing it now? There we go. I had it full screen here, and that broke it through Discord for no reason.
So here's Cheetor. Look at those thunder thighs. Look at that big paunch. And so
look at that hot cat.
Yeah. This turns into a big man with a whip.
Honestly, we just told you like what specific reasons for why we didn't watch Beast Wars. So I'm sorry we don't know lore, but like this is all right. I remember Cheetor was like a really big transformer, which was confusing because they would be like other animals that are larger than cheetahs, but they would make like smaller toys with them. They're like.
I'm sorry. The toys are great. It's impossible to have a normal human adult conversation about.
We're working through some deep-seated issues we had about the Beast Wars, and I think we're
hot out
happy.
Today. You know, it's like
it's so hot. This one, yeah. So like that was the thing, is they made a cheetah that was the same size as a dinosaur, and they would fight. I think I don't remember.
Look at this. I almost cursed. Look at this dinosaur.
This
is one of the best.
That's a good one. What's his name?
You always wonder.
Megatron? That's Megatron, huh?
This is just T-Rex Megatron. He doesn't even get a cool name because he wants to know who he is. He bought the vanity plates and a worm on his ass no matter who he becomes. What I love about Transformers, especially the Beast ones, is that you never know where the animal's head is going to go. Is it going to become the crotch or the man's head? Here, he just said, no, it's going to be my hand. And so forever, I'm going to be strong, but it's going to be very hard to do things like pick up food and sign checks. Because if you look, his left arm is the tail, and his right arm is the T-Rex's head, which is great. Because you know what I love about this the most is it solves the number one problem that T-Rexes have. They cannot reach things.
No, that's honestly it. They looked at the T-Rex and they're like, this thing kicks ass, but like not its arms. Like everything else is fine. We got to make it into a man robot. Like screw it. We're doing tail and head for the arms.
I agree. And if you love animals, you'll love the next toy, which is a jet.
Oh, it's like what, Galvatron?
That is. Let's see. That
Cyclonus?
That's Cyclonus. And so
that's from the movie.
Yeah,
it's not Galvatron. He hangs out with Galvatron. See, this is what I'm talking about. We're talking about like toys that have like, they're for like the hardcore fans who are angry that the one thing that they wanted never got made. And now they're like, they're like, fine, here's Cyclonus. Like, you know that there were dudes out there who were like, they're like, we have enough Star Screams, make Thundercracker. And it's like, all right, fine. Here's another jet. It's the same jet. It's just different colors. Go nuts. But yeah,
I will say that we started this conversation by being sort of, tyrannical Transformers purists, being like the machines should only become vehicles, and then we quickly made a gradient right into loving the animal kingdom. But I'm getting whiplash right now, which I believe is a different Transformer, because this is not a king. This is not an animal. This is not part of a kingdom. This is just a jet.
I think it's like a kingdom in like in a government sense. I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I wish
Megatron. He gets a crown. Or Starscream does.
Snake, turn into a seal or something.
Yeah. Anyway, the final one, the best one here. I might buy this because it's so funny.
This is Rat Trap. And look at this filthy ass dude. So this is a huge rat on all fours with a big horny tail, and then he turns into this scrawny man with a gun.
Just wearing knee-high socks and panties. It's so good. Also, like
his
that,
6 friends that get their tails all cut up with each other.
that rat looks like 6 baby rats dressed up like an adult rat to get into an R-rated movie. Like it's just all lumpy. It looks like the brother from Ratatouille, the big muscly one who's just eating trash and doesn't care.
He doesn't get what happens when you put Gruyere.
That
with
rat
apple,
looks like Okja. This is horrible. I love it. I want this toy. It's so upsetting. Oh man, No, they're great. I'm happy about this.
Rat Trap.
We've made our peace with Beast Wars.
Yes, we have.
It's fine.
And so once again, those will be available on September 26th on Hasbro Pulse and most other toy retailers. And this is they were revealed during Hasbro PulseCon. We're going to get more details about that very, very soon. We're getting that's what I forgot about that. Like E3 is over. All the video game stuff has done. The next gen consoles have been pre-ordered. Now comes out all the toys and stuff. Right now comes the sort of Christmas rush for cool toy nonsense. And so I'm excited.
I mean, there's going to be a bunch of stuff announced in whenever New York Comic Con would have been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about that. But while we're on the subject of weird CGI animals and dinosaurs and the 1980s and action and excitement, I stumbled upon something very strange, which I highly recommend everyone go check out. It is a movie called Dinosaur Hunters, which is available for free on YouTube. And the reason it's free, it is a 2-hour feature film that is entirely made by one guy of bits and pieces of other feature films. It is a mashup movie. It is a feature-length movie about people hunting dinosaurs, but not just regular people, my dear viewers. It stars, I have to read this, it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Tom Cruise, Chuck Norris, Bill Paxton, Bruce Campbell, Dwayne Johnson, Nicolas Cage, John Travolta, Dolph Lundgren, and Wesley Snipes. It's
Holy
basically
crap.
he pulled clips from every possible movie he could featuring these actors who've been in tons of stuff. So it's basically Commando, Chuck Norris, and Rambo fighting dinosaurs on an island. And it's a 2-hour movie. It's one of the I haven't watched the whole thing, but it's kind of amazing to watch. This one guy, you can go find it. It's on AMDS Films. He's Antonio Maria da Silva, who previously did he did Terminator versus RoboCop in a sort of similar fashion. But in this case, he was like, yeah, I'm going to use, After Effects and CGI dinosaurs, and I'm going to have Bruce Willis shooting the compound bow at a dinosaur. And that's what this is. And you would think that it would be kind of like balls to the wall action constantly, but it's surprisingly somber and meditative in parts. There's a whole scene where Dwayne Johnson is playing the ukulele around a campfire for all of these muscle men, and they're all looking at each other somberly because he pulled a bunch of clips of them where they're just not saying stuff and sort of looking at it. And a lot of the dialogue is a little bit weird. I think also I feel like Jason Statham's in it too. The credits go on for half the movie because he just keeps adding people, but it's there's this part where you're yeah, they want to kill the dinosaurs, but there's a lot of sympathy for these little dinosaurs. There's a part where
where did they get? Okay, so I understand where they stole or not stole, where they accumulated the footage of all the human men that have been in a plethora of action films. Where'd they get all the dinosaur stuff? Is that there's a finite amount of Jurassic World?
I think he went on either Shapeways and got a bunch of royalty-free dinosaur models that he animated, or he just took one of those many Discovery Channel Walking with Dinosaur documentaries and was just yeah, I'm going to have Nicolas Cage kill one of these guys with an axe. It's really, really strange. And it's I did something similar to this where I made a fake Phantom Pain movie trailer.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Years ago where and it's really hard to to cut snippets of movies that fit your needs, but don't give away what movie it is. And when you put Chuck Norris on the screen, you're well, Chuck Norris was in a lot of movies. I don't know, that could be in any of them. This could be an actual movie. But then here's Van Damme on the ground with dinosaurs walking over him, but that's clearly a bit from Kickboxer where he got knocked out or something, or one of his many kickboxing films.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's shots of Arnold and Commando, and it's that's clearly Arnold and Commando. It's obviously him. Also, I think Nicolas Cage's character's just name is Cage. But there's all these bits where it's Bruce Willis, and I think it's him from Tears of the Sun.
Oh wow!
And he's on the radio with Gene Hackman in Hunt for Red October, who eventually sends Maverick from Top Gun to like nuke all the dinosaurs or something. Like it's and again, it's a 2-hour movie. Like it's got a through line. I'm not going to say it's like must watch, but like you got to go check it out. It's very impressive. So that
sounds fun as hell.
Yeah, it's called Dinosaur Hunters. It's 2 hours long. It's AMDS Films. I just love that people are doing this stuff. Like I honestly, I think it might actually fall like squarely enough in fair use. Like it's transformative. Like he made a movie from the ground up that has its own plot using clips of other movies. And like, I don't know how you would flag this for a copyright strike exactly, because it's like, I mean, I do, because it's very obviously using so many other pieces, but like, look at that. They were never in a movie together. No. Like that's weird. It's like a Photoshop movie. Let me point something out. This movie exists to fill a void that Hollywood has left open for centuries, which is we need more movies where the men fight the dinosaurs. We have a finite amount of those films. Like, there's a lot of Jurassic movies where the men run from the dinosaurs. Sometimes the bad guys fight the dinosaurs. But we need more movies where the men are just fighting the dinosaurs, and the women too, and the children. Get everyone involved. I want to really hunt in the bad boys. I want to take this movie and I want to do it one step further, and I'm going to recut it, and I'm going to make a live action trailer for Second Extinction. That's a really good idea. And then I'm going to get copyright striked by Antonio Maria da Silva. Yeah, Darth Lannister on YouTube says, just make a Turok the movie. That'd be great. I would be so into a Turok the movie. Mm-hmm. Who do you think would play Turok? Jason Momoa. That's perfect. You didn't even hesitate. That's perfect. Neither does Turok, because you get killed by dinosaurs if you hesitate. That's right. That's right. Let's see, what else we got today? We got a real bad one here. So Crash Bandicoot, he's back, baby. He's coming back for Crash Bandicoot 4. Everyone loves Crash Bandicoot, and he's returned once again. My favorite thing that Crash Bandicoot ever did was a weird hidden Japanese music video that was like a button combo to unlock on the original PS1 game, which is like just a deeply unsettling thing where he's going around and he's pelvic thrusting and he's doing this weird aggressive dance, and he's hanging out with women in bikinis, and he's like drinking, like I think it says it's like apple juice or like Wumpa wine or something, but he's just like, he's clearly just, he's being bad. He's being a bad boy. He's doing all sorts of sex dances on bridges and stuff. He's just making a real scene. He's just being a rude man. And they brought that energy back in a weirdly wholesome way, which is also deeply upsetting still, but in a different kind of less offensive, more upsetting way, where he's now hassling a family. I think we have it here. This is the Japan. I think this is they're calling it a trailer, but it's like 5 minutes long. So like I don't know what to call it. Apples are huge. Yeah. I guess I think in Japan they made the Wumpa Fruits apples, but basically they're like. We're not playing the music because it's awful. It's just like, you see. Yeah, and this guy's like, Crash Bandicoot, you're back. And he's like, yeah, man. And now I'm going to teach your whole family how to do my sex dance. We got the kids here. We're doing the thrusting dance. We're doing the thing. And they just go around the forest. They go in the woods and they're doing the dance and they're doing the I cannot believe this. Yeah. Yeah, they're out in the river. It's very strange. So yeah, can I point out something? You can quote me on this, but also, use this against me forever. Crash Bandicoot's skin looks delicious. Doesn't it look like a spicy fried chicken sandwich? Like it looks like it's like almost like a Cheetos, like a you know what I'm saying? Can it help? I think you just ruined Crash Bandicoot for me, man. No, and right there in that costume, that looks like a huge, delicious, spicy snack. Just looks like a delicious cooked dog. I just want to eat that. It's just a fried dingo. Yeah. I want to eat that spicy cooked dog boy. I know it looks like a dog made out of chicken strips. Like I would totally eat that, man. But yeah, I don't know. Do we have Flex? Do we have the original, the old one? Here we go. Is this it? This is it. This is so bad. Yeah. So this is the original one where he's doing bad stuff. I think this is actually subtitled too, and it's great because you can see like they're like, he's doing the same dance and it still sucks. This is from 1997, I think. He's in a greenhouse. He's just like, I'm gonna go and. I don't know what the perception of Crash Bandicoot was in Japan.
Doesn't look as delicious there. He looks like when you get chicken wings from like a very cheap place, and there's no meat on the wings.
But he's out look at
that drink looks great though.
Dates or like Hostess bar. He got crushed by a wheel. But
he did.
There's a lot to
his hands look delicious though. I'd eat his big hands.
Yeah,
if you're watching the show right now, let us know in the comments. Would you eat Crash Bandicoot skin if it was a crunchy, deep fried, delicious chicken?
You ever get those Trader Joe's like chili spiced mango strips?
Yes. This is one of now you're getting on my level now. Right? This is where it
might
is.
Be supper time, my good man. But look at this. Okay, so here's this sick pervert. He's doing jumps and stuff, and now he's on vacation. I think there's like some gag about. It's not sake or something. Like they want to establish that he's not getting day drunk, but he is, it. And now there's a one shot where he's like jumping on the hoverboard. Yeah, look at that. They were like, we only got one take to get it right because you're going to fall in the water. And there's penguins, weird stuff. So I'm happy that they decided to bring back the awful video of the man in the suit doing the sex dance in various places throughout Japan. And I'm happy that they were like, hey, Crash Bandicoot's grown up and so have you. You probably got a kid now who's probably just as stoked about Crash Bandicoot as you are.
That's
time to teach that kid that sex dance with that awful orange bear.
And I want to point out, there's a lot of people in the chat agreeing with me. Benjamin Wells says, I want some chicken. And Mario Madness says, deep fried Bandicoot. Sure. And iHouse916 says, I'm just about to eat half a burrito and taquitos. So he's hungry.
I have some questions there. Did he save the half the burrito and just like decided to like supplement it with taquitos? Like what's going on with that? I
want to brag a little bit. I've lived in California for 11 years, and the only time I ever wasn't able to finish a burrito in its entirety was the first time I ever ate a California burrito. First time. It was like a baby's arm. It was huge. And I was like, I can't do anything with this. And I got halfway through it and I was like, you people eat these things for lunch and you go back to work? You're out of your damn minds.
Yeah, no, I cut them in half now because not so much because I'm like, oh, that's too much for me. It's because I like to get excited about having half a burrito later.
What do you mean? Like later that night?
Or whenever, yeah. Like I don't know, like I'll get a burrito and I'll do this thing, which is also, it makes me feel bad because like I have an old, very bad IKEA knife that I'm like, this is like, my wife was like, we should throw it out. I was like, no, I use that to cut through tinfoil. So I use it to like cut through the burrito and I cut it in the middle, and then you get, that little like the little juicy ass end of the burrito that's like a little tortilla apple ball full of meat juices. Mm-hmm. You get that twice. It's the perfect plan. It's brilliant. You can't lose. It's great.
Nobody wants that twice.
What are you talking about? I love that.
No, you're supposed to have the burrito water at the very bottom. That's your treat for finishing the whole burrito.
That's what I'm talking about. You get that twice.
But it's not the same, and when it's twice, it's only half. That's like saying you get 2 shots of alcohol or 2 beers. You really only get 1 beer. You actually get a half a beer. Because the beer
here's the trick. You get 4 half beers, and that way you get twice as much as 2 beers.
No, you gotta really flex those muscles and just eat the whole burrito in one sitting.
So I want to know.
The trick is you don't eat a lot the rest of the day before burrito. A burrito is not a surprise event. You don't have a huge breakfast and a huge lunch.
We got an update from iHalls. He says leftover from someone else and fried taquitos. Hell yeah, somebody else's leftover burrito. Now you're living it up. That's a good time.
I want a burrito right now.
I want a burrito too. I don't know. Yeah, we might have to go.
Luck is in my favor because here it is.
Oh, there. That's too small. Make it bigger. Get it bigger.
What is this? It's a hot dog.
It's a hot dog. That's like the Chicago burrito. There it is. Num 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 num. Oh, there you go, you big chomper. Wonderful.
It went right to my left boob.
I love making this stupid ass show. I hope everybody out there has burritos.
Me too. And if you don't, have a hop dob.
Hop dob. It's the big straight burrito from Chicago, the Windy City. Put mustard on there.
What do you think the percentage of increase of hot dogs since lockdown or quarantine went in for you, Max?
Oh, for me specifically?
Yeah.
I feel like I've already met my quota twice. I don't think I didn't know I had a quota. Like if it was like what's it called, Inside Out, and there's like a business running inside of me, and there's like all these spheres floating around, and my emotions are all different characters. Like I feel like there's one guy there who's like no one knows why he works there still. Like he should have been fired, but he's the guy who's like, we need to eat more hot dogs. We got a quota to meet. And I feel like since quarantine, he's gotten a promotion, and now they've been there's been a company reorganization, and so like hot dog management guy is now above anger and sadness, and he's like, you two get on hot dog duty. And so like when I get angry or sad, I'm like, time to eat hot dogs, got to fill that quota up.
You got one coming for you right now.
Oh God. But no, it's been a cool minute since I had a good hot dog. I might have a burrito tonight though.
That's a good idea. I've had a few hot dogs here and there, if you know what I'm talking about. You know,
I don't know how to tell you this. I've actually been eating hot dogs whenever the camera hasn't been on me this entire show.
Is that true?
Yeah, I have an entire freezer bag full of them. It's lined with paper towels, so it's nice and moist.
You ever see those hot dog toasters? It's just a regular toaster full of like weird sick holes.
I don't like that. It reminds me of that Junji Ito manga where the people are hiding in the holes. It's too upsetting.
Me too. I don't like that one at all. But you know, it's a good idea because you can just click a button on the side of your desk, and if you hit it hard enough, it'll just pop up and go, "How?" Just right in your face. I
want to start getting hot dogs by the spool and have it like just you pull out as much as you need, and then you have like a funk, and it just chops it off. Get a cigar cutter, cut off the ends.
Front page of the world's biggest video game website.
I don't know why they keep letting us do this show, but I'm glad
they do though.
Yeah.
You know what it is though? We work really hard all week. We do a lot of really good videos and stuff for the website and for the YouTube, for everything else. And then, comes Thursday night and, the boys, they get a little wild, if you know what I'm talking about. They get a little crazy. They have a few hop dobs, throw back a few brewskis.
I think it's more
foods.
We were like, we want to work late on Thursdays, and everyone's like, all right, go for it. And they're like, it's like when a third grader's like, do you dare me to eat all this pile of garbage? And you're like, not really. It's, go on, dare me. And it's like, all right, I dare you to eat the garbage. It's like, I will eat the garbage, and he eats the garbage. It's like, don't. Like we played ourselves, but.
It's not like there's like the GTA 6 live stream that was supposed to happen right now, and instead they're like, let's get these idiots on camera to talk about hot dogs instead.
No, we talked about Thundercats, hot dogs, burritos, the Mandalorian, frogs,
Rat-Man.
Rats. Yeah, there he is. Oh boy. All right, we should probably wrap it up though, so Flex can go have burritos, and I can
ladies and gentlemen. That was Up at Noon, our weekly fun time show here. We hope we made the world a little bit brighter for you, or made you want foods that you weren't initially craving, and now you're all in on. Shout out to cheetahs and rats and beasts and mummies. There he is.
There's the rat. We talked about really all of the entire.
All the food groups.
Mummies, rats, hot dogs. We did it. Yeah. No, we used to hang out every day and talk to each other about this shit constantly, and now it's like we have to do a show about it. But like, this feels good. So thank you for watching. Thank you for giving us a reason to do this, and I hope that you're able to find some just little glimmer of light in this
some joy,
dark tunnel of life.
Yeah, and if you can't remember, when life gives you a rat, turn into a man.
I was sure. I think you were going the hot dogs direction for that one.
You never know. Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.